Have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered, how did we get here? I mean, if you look down from outer space, our world is just a tiny blue marble floating through the blackness of the cosmos. But even way back in the days of the first humans, people were curious about the vastness of the universe and their place in it. So today, let us explore one of the most mysterious and powerful stories in the Bible that helps us understand how our world began. The story of the Tower of Babel, where bricks and pride collided with the authority of the Almighty. And what God did there changed the course of history forever. This happened way back after the global flood, right around the time that Noah and his family exited the ark. Now, they and all the people who came after them, they spread out across the face of the earth. And one guy named Nimrod, he decided to settle in an area called Shinar, which some scholars believe might have been in ancient Mesopotamia. Now, Nimrod, he was quite the leader. He led these folks in building a mighty city, and in its center, he planned something truly remarkable, a tower so tall that it would reach into the heavens themselves. This is what the scripture says. Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower whose top will reach into the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, so that we will not be scattered over the face of the whole earth. Now, this might sound like just another crazy idea from a wannabe dictator, but there's more to the story. You see, after the flood, people kind of felt lost. They had survived this global disaster, and now they were scattered everywhere, unsure of where to go or what to do next. So this idea of building a tower to reach the heavens, it symbolized unity and a desire to reclaim what they had lost, to come together as one people. But here's the thing, they weren't doing this to honor God. Instead, they wanted to make a name for themselves, to become famous and important without God in the picture. In other words, they wanted to take matters into their own hands and create their own destiny. But little did they know, God had other plans. You see, the Bible tells us that Nimrod and these people, they didn't fear God. Instead, they were worried about themselves and their own great plans. This is what the scripture says. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. Otherwise, in those days and afterward, they were scattered abroad in the land of Shinar. They began to build there and to devise means in their hearts. Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top will reach to heaven, and let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad on the face of the earth. In other words, they were trying to build something great so that people would remember their name. But they forgot about the one who actually held their destinies in his hands, God. You see, this isn't just a story about a failed construction project. It's a story about pride, about what happens when people try to be like God and take things into their own hands. In fact, the Hebrew word for name in this passage, it actually means renown or fame. So these people, they weren't building a tower to reach the heavens. They were building a tower to make themselves famous on earth. And this is a problem because it doesn't matter how big your dreams are or how hard you work to achieve them. If you're not working for God, then ultimately you're working against Him. Think about it. When you try to do something great on your own terms, when you try to build your own tower to the heavens, you're really just digging your own grave. So this is what happened. These people, they kept on building and building until the tower reached up into the clouds. But the higher it went, the more they separated from God. This is what the scripture says. Thus the Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing will be impossible for them. This is what the scripture says. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, surely the people are as one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. And whatever they purpose to do, it will be done. Now go to, let us confuse their language there, so that no man will understand the language of his fellow and his work. You see, before this point, everyone spoke the same language. They were all united. But as the tower grew higher and higher, as their plans became more ambitious, their hearts also grew further away from God. And in response, God decided to intervene. He came down and saw everything they had done. And instead of just stopping them, He decided to teach them a lesson they would never forget. God confused their languages so that no one could understand each other anymore. Suddenly, this huge project that symbolized unity and cooperation became a monument to division and confusion. The people, they couldn't communicate anymore. They couldn't work together, and so their plans fell apart. Their dreams of reaching the heavens turned into a nightmare of confusion and separation. and from there, they were scattered across the earth. Some scholars believe that this event could have been a real historical event that inspired the many stories about a fallen tower in different cultures around the world. But whether it happened exactly like this or not, it still teaches us some valuable lessons. First, it shows us the importance of putting God first in everything we do. When we try to build our lives and our dreams without Him, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Second, it reminds us that pride and arrogance don't lead to success, but to destruction. When we think we can do anything on our own, we're forgetting that we're only human. We need God's help to accomplish anything great. Finally, it teaches us that unity and understanding are crucial to achieving our goals. When we can't communicate or work together, our plans fall apart. We become divided and separated. So what's the lesson here for us today? Well, if we want to build something great in our lives, if we want to reach the heights of our potential, then we need to do it God's way. We need to put Him first, humble ourselves before Him, and seek His guidance in all things. Only then can we build a life that is truly successful and fulfilling. Because think about it, the people who built the Tower of Babel, they had everything going for them. They were united, they were ambitious, and they had the skills and resources to make their dreams come true. But because they forgot about God, because they let pride and arrogance take over, they lost everything. So my friends, let this be a warning to us all. Don't let pride and arrogance take root in your heart. Don't forget that God is the one who holds your future in His hands. And always remember to put God first in everything you do. I hope this helps you understand the story of the Tower of Babel a little bit better. But I'm curious, what do you think? What lessons have you learned from this story? And how does it apply to your life today? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more biblical stories explained simply. Until next time, God bless you, and remember, stay humble, stay hungry, and fulfill your God-given potential.